Good day, everybody. It's Michael Liveris from JurySQ.com. We'll bring you back Gregory Spektor from Gregory Spektor Associates, a personal injury law firm. Gregory, welcome back.
Thank you, Michael. It's nice to see you. How's
Thank
everything?
you for your time. Very good. Thank you. And look, we want to make it crystal clear. What happens if you're in a car accident? And if you are, let's say, a driver, if you're a passenger, if you're a pedestrian, God forbid, who was hit by a car. So let's start one at a time. In this session, let's talk if you are a driver, right? And let's say you are at fault and you get injured. Let's start with that. And then what happens if you are a driver, you're not at fault, the other car hits you? What compensation is available, please?
No matter, who you are in the vehicle or outside of the vehicle, if you're a pedestrian, and no matter whose fault it is, you will be entitled to treatment benefits. Every single policy issued in the state of New York carries a provision of that policy that is called no fault. Portion of the policy that it is called that specifically because it's not. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. You still can go ahead and get treatment. All right. Now, as far as compensation for your injuries, whether they are economic or pain and suffering,
right,
that you are entitled to for injuries that you sustain through someone else's fault. Now, it does not negate the fact that you might be partially responsible for this accident.
Correct.
There is a statute in the state of New York that provides for what's called a joint and several liability. What that entitles you to receive is an apportionment of the other vehicle's fault for the injury that you sustain.
Okay, so let me get this straight.
Let me correct myself. It doesn't have to be a vehicle. Another, a party, a defendant in most of the cases.
Gotcha.
So I'll give you an example. Let's say, for the simplicity of the discussion, let's say that you have sustained $1 million worth of injury. And it's one of those late green lights, early red lights kind of intersection accident.
Yeah, it happens.
Where you are positive that the other car is at fault and the other driver is positive that you are at fault. And a lot of times the insurance company will value it at a 50-50 split. If you want to go to fight and you want to take it to court and, you want to present your case to a jury, they'll see who's more believable. And they can gauge it one way or another. But let's just, for the purposes of that hypothetical, if it's a 50-50 split, you will be entitled to $500,000 worth of compensation. If you are a passenger, that's where it gets interesting.
Yeah, you know what, Gregory, I'm going to stop you right there because we're going to do a separate session just for passengers. I want to for a second go back to if you are a driver and let's say you hit somebody in the bumper in the back, rear end, but you caused it. So now, from what I understand, it's probably, is it 100% fault of yours, or is there still some percentage you can carve out of the other driver?
Let's make it simpler. With the rear end, there is always a potential of an allegation that the car in front of you stopped short for no particular reason. Listen, the car in front of you is going on the highway 60 miles an hour, and all of a sudden hits the brakes. You will do everything to avoid the accident. You will probably bear the majority of the responsibility for this accident because you did not keep the safe distance from the vehicle, and you were not able to see what was there to be seen.
Got it.
However, there was absolutely no reason for that person to hit the brakes in the middle of the highway. So there will be some apportionment of liability. I guess the best case scenario where you will definitely not be able to recover is if you, let's say, hit a light pole.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you hit a light pole, it's really your fault, and you won't be able to recover for your pain and suffering, for your injuries, but you will be able to proceed with treatment using
Right.
the no fault portion of your policy.
Very good. Okay, Gregory, thank you for explanation, because not everybody was clear on that. And what I want to bring up here is that it's very important, if even if you think that you are mostly at fault or completely at fault, and you have no chance of any recovery for, besides medical treatment, you have no chance of recovery for your pain and suffering and your damages, it's still worthwhile to talk to somebody who does it for a living, like yourself, a personal injury attorney, to see whether there's any liability on the part of the other driver. Of course, not the other object, like you said, a light pole carries no responsibility. However, if there's another driver involved, maybe there's a chance you can still get some compensation. So that was important fact to bring out.
The very simple risk benefit analysis, just you really don't lose anything by talking to a professional like myself or any of
Right.
my staff or any other attorney, because consultations are free. As a matter of fact, we
Correct.
provide services that are free of charge up until your case is successfully resolved.
Mhm.
And you're right, you know, a lot of times things would come up upon some further research
Exactly.
that would be, you know, game changers.
Very good.
Let's say it was a traffic light accident, and then we order what's called FOIL request from the city, and we
Mhm.
find out that the traffic was malfunctioning. Then there is not just one potential defendant for just the split of liability, but a full defendant in New York
Wow.
City
Wow.
for
That brings up
not
a
maintaining
whole
the traffic
other
light.
venue of getting
Absolutely,
compensation, and possibly a
absolutely.
large compensation. Yeah.
Listen, and this is something I always say: don't just go, especially if you're seriously injured. You know, stay away from talking to your friends or
Right.
uncles or
Exactly.
relatives. Everybody
Yeah.
feels that they're very yeah, knowledgeable, but
Mhm.
you want to get professional opinion. You
Exactly.
want to get an opinion of somebody
Yes.
who is licensed to act in the best interest of their client or a potential client.
Yeah, and somebody like your firm that actually does this for a living, day in, day out, and not only you settle cases, but you actually go to court, you litigate these cases if need be, so you know how to maximize compensation for your clients. Look, today we're giving very general advice. If you want specific advice on your case, you must call the number on the bottom of the screen. The law office, law firm, it's a whole large firm. I've been there, I've seen it, full of attorneys, associates, and paralegals. Contact the firm of Gregory